we are looking into indices, the plural of index, indices. In indices, we have laws, 3 of which we are going to look into. How is indices or an index represented? Here, this is A raised to power X. The A is referred to as the base, while the X here is referred to as the index, power, or exponent. Okay. What is the meaning of this? If we consider the base to be 3, and the power or the index to be 2, the interpretation of this is 3 multiplying 3. If we have 4 raised to power 5, this means 4 multiplying 4 multiplying 4 multiplying 4 multiplying 4. Repeated addition. That is what multiplication means. Okay? And over here, how then do we operate these? Generally, let's look at the product rule. Product rule. If I have this, A raised to power X multiplying A raised to power Y, this gives, or then, my Y, or let me put it this way, Y, which is equal to A raised to power X multiplying A raised to power Y, would be equal to A raised to X plus Y. That is the first rule, the product rule. We can go into quotient rule. Quotient rule. Quotient rule. Here, quotient is nothing more than division. If we have if A raised to power X is being divided by A raised to power Y equals Y, then Y is equal to A raised to power X minus Y. That is the interpretation, and that gives us the second rule. Then the third rule, which is exponential rule. Exponential rule. It's like this. This is related to the first rule. If I have my Y is equal to A raised to power X, and everything now raised to power N, then my Y is equal to A raised to power X, okay, times A raised to power X times A raised to power X, continue like that up to A raised to power N minus 1, okay, multiplying A raised to power X in what? This becomes 0. Okay? Now, what is the meaning of this. By the time you look into this, here we said we can sum this up. By the time we sum these up, we will realize that it becomes nx, n multiplying x. So in effect, this becomes a raised to power nx. That is what the result is going to be under exponential rule. Let's take some example. If my a is 5, if a equals 5, x equals 3, for instance, x equals 3, and y equals 2, then solve the following. Solve the following. A raised to power x multiplying a raised to power y, that is 1. Then 2, a raised to power x divided by a raised to power y. And then 3, a raised to power x, everything now raised to power n, supposing that n is equal to 3. Okay, then how do we go with this? Solution is as follows. This is solution. Number 1 goes like this. A raised to power x multiplying a raised to power y becomes, looking at the values, we substitute x is equal to 3 in this case, multiplying y is equal to 2. So this becomes 5 raised to power 2. And applying the first rule, we have 5 raised to power 3 plus 2. And this becomes 5 raised to power 5. We can leave the answer like this. Of course, if we multiply this up, we get the same thing. This is 125 multiplying 25. We get the same answer as what we have put on the board. Now, let's quickly go to example 2. In the example 2, we have this. Y being equal to a raised to power x, everything over a raised to power y. Our x is known, our a is 5 raised to power 3 divided by 5 raised to power 2. This becomes 5. 3 minus 2, which becomes 5 raised to power 1. Of course, 5 raised to power 1 is 5. Okay. Now, example 3. We have y being equal to a raised to power x, everything raised to power n. This equals 5 raised to power 3, everything raised to power 3 also, n is equal to 3. Like I said, see, let's make this to be very clear, we can apply the first law to this by saying that 5 raised to power 3, multiplying 5 raised to power 3, multiplying 5 raised to power 3. This is the first law, and so this becomes 5 raised to power 3 plus 3 plus 3, that's raised to 9. But applying the law strictly, we have 3 multiplying 3, which also gives us 5 raised to power 3 times 3, which is 5 raised to 9. Over here, we can consider certain cases, especially in the law 2. What do we think if x and y are equal? What becomes the answer? Let's quickly look into that. Considering law 2, we have certain cases to be considered. Case 1, if x equals y, what happens? In a situation like this, if we have a raised to power x and a raised to power y, definitely we shall have these. Y becomes a raised to power x minus y. And so if x and y are equal, we have these, either x minus x or a y minus y, which is equal to a raised to power 0. This a raised to power 0 is equal to 1. This implies that any number raised to power 0 is 1. Okay, that is the first thing. Now the other one, the other case, case 2, y is greater than x. Example, then let y be equal to 5 when x is equal to what? Is equal to 3. In a situation like that, we shall have y to be equal to a raised to power 3 minus 5. This becomes a raised to power minus 2. This is known as the reciprocal. Reciprocal. What do we mean by that? Remember, the fundamental meaning of this is y equals to a raised to power 3 over a raised to power 5, which is a multiplying a over a times a times a times a times a. Looking at this, we have that. This becomes 1 over a raised to power 2. So a raised to power 2 is the same, which is the reciprocal of a squared, is the same thing as a raised to power minus 2. And I hope this explanation is very clear to all of us, and we can apply it into the real situation, looking at the examples which I have cited. Thank you so much.